Welcome to this explainer. A recent Bloomberg interview with Anthropic just laid bare this massive, honestly kind of glaring structural contradiction sitting right at the center of frontier AI. We're seeing the very organizations that are the most worried about advanced AI risks, like Anthropic, racing the absolute fastest to build, commercialize, and govern these massive systems. It's this incredibly delicate balance. We're looking at a dynamic where sounding the alarm about a technology somehow goes hand in hand with hitting the accelerator. So we've got to ask, why does this happen? And more importantly, how do we actually govern a space where extreme caution and extreme acceleration are just hopelessly tangled up together?
Okay, to really understand this, we have to look at the central tension driving the entire industry right now. Imagine you're a company that genuinely believes advanced AI is dangerous. Well, you're going to feel strategically forced to build it yourself, right? Basically, you want to get there before less careful actors do. So it's not necessarily hypocrisy we're seeing here, it's just a raw structural reality. Capability growth creates strategic pressure, and that pressure dramatically speeds up the timeline. But here's the catch. Once you build these immensely powerful systems to keep them away from bad actors, society is forced to ask a really uncomfortable question. Who controls the controller? I mean, when a small group of people suddenly hold the keys to a world-altering tech, what is actually governing their decisions?
This whole structural loop actually has a name. It's called the safety builder paradox. It's exactly this dynamic. The more dangerous advanced AI seems, the stronger the incentive becomes to personally build, control, and accelerate it. But, as you can probably guess, this creates a highly unstable environment. Think about the feedback loop going on here. As capability grows, strategic pressure spikes. That pressure forces faster deployment, which, by definition, increases the risk of misalignment or misuse. Eventually, the sheer scale of that risk totally outgrows our ability to just rely on the good faith and trust we place in a handful of corporate executives. Now, Anthropic is pretty famous for constitutional AI, which is genuinely brilliant at shaping how a model behaves internally. It aligns the assistant so it's less toxic, less deceptive, just generally more helpful. But, and this is a big but, that is really only half the battle. Making a model polite in a chat interface, that leaves the broader deployment system completely unchecked. To actually govern how the full system operates out in the real world, we need a totally different framework. Enter the energetic paradigm, or EP. EP goes way beyond just AI control. It's a full architecture for capability governance. It tracks energy flow tracing, authority mapping, value flow analysis, the whole shebang. It looks at the entire picture, not just the text the model spits out.
Because without a broader system framework like EP, some really critical operational variables are just left twisting in the wind. We're talking about tool access, workflow autonomy, military integration. I mean, imagine a perfectly polite, totally well-behaved model that suddenly gets plugged directly into an automated military procurement system or a live corporate software release pipeline with full workflow autonomy. Yikes, right? A constitution doesn't govern what happens when the AI gets its hands on real-world infrastructure. The energetic paradigm steps in here to treat intelligence as an energy flow system. It tracks exactly where the capability is flowing across all these complex operational boundaries, making sure things like institutional authority and release decisions are systematically locked down.
Moving into Section 2, restructuring work and value, going from doing to controlling. Let's see how this plays out in practice.
So, the arrival of advanced coding agents, think Claude Code, means AI isn't just doing simple line completion anymore. Human workers are fundamentally stepping away from manual implementation and moving entirely into control architecture. The actual daily work becomes task decomposition, system supervision, review, and integration. But pause and think about what this actually means on the ground. If an AI writes code 10 times faster than you do, shouldn't your verification and rollback checkpoints be 10 times stronger to catch all those inevitable hidden flaws? Actually, scratch that. They probably need to be more than 10 times stronger. Every leap in AI generation speed absolutely has to be matched by stronger architectural memory, meticulous responsibility tracing, and real failure containment. Otherwise, we are just going to drown in hidden technical debt.
And it doesn't stop at code. AI agents dissolve frozen, static software workflows entirely. What we are witnessing is a massive reallocation of economic energy away from your traditional SaaS products and straight into AI-native orchestration. So instead of buying a static software tool to do one specific job, businesses are just going to buy the AI orchestration layer that does the work dynamically. This completely upends who holds the power. We really have to look closely at who loses control and which roles evaporate as this value shifts. It's a fundamental structural disruption of how our economy utilizes human energy.
With economic value shifting that radically, EP emphasizes that we desperately need new economic stabilizers. If we don't map out skill migration pathways right now, we risk automating away the very human judgment we need to keep these systems from cascading into total failure. We need proactive job transition analysis, organizational role redesign, and really explicit deployment constraints. We simply can't just optimize for short-term productivity gains if it means totally destroying our human control layer. The people holding the steering wheel? They're what ensure long-term reliability.
All right, Section 3, Defense and Cyber Frontiers, and what we call the illusion of human in the loop. Let's look at the highest stakes environments. Consider this incredibly chilling reality in defense AI, which the source material captures perfectly. A human who confirms a decision after the AI has filtered the information, ranked the targets, and compressed uncertainty may not be exercising full judgment. Think about that for a second. In these high-stakes environments, simply having a human click approve on a computer screen is often nothing more than a symbolic liability shield. It's absolutely not real control if the AI is already dictating the tempo, filtering the data, and narrowing down all the options before the human even glances at them. At that point, the human just becomes a mechanical switch in a machine-driven chain. To stop control from silently migrating over to the machine like that, EP demands an architecture that enforces strict, literally uncrossable mission boundaries. We're talking baked-in civilian harm constraints, traceable audit logs, and rock-solid independent review mechanisms. We have to introduce what's called escalation friction, basically purposeful slowdowns and uncertainty visibility, where the AI is literally forced to show its math and highlight its doubts. By doing this, we establish genuine chain-of-command accountability. We have to preserve real human deliberation, not just settle for the dangerous illusion of it. Which brings us to highly potent models like Mythos. This is a system capable of discovering thousands of cybersecurity vulnerabilities at totally unprecedented speeds. It's best to think of a model like this as a huge dual-use capability reservoir. It holds this massive, generalized potential for both incredible defense and absolute devastation. Yes, it can patch and protect systems, but it could also enable massive intrusion, sabotage, and automated attacks. Simple access control gates, like just checking a user's login credentials or clearance level, are totally inadequate for safely managing a reservoir of this magnitude. So instead of relying on vague access labels, the EP framework functionally contains the capability by breaking it down into separate, highly restricted channels. It methodically isolates the discovery phase, exploit construction, target selection, automation, persistence, evasion, and deployment. Each one of those specific channels requires entirely different gates. For example, you might allow a model to discover a vulnerability, that's great, but put a hard architectural stop on exploit construction and automation. You're containing the capability step by step, rather than just handing a trusted user the master keys to the entire castle. Okay, moving to our final section. Architecture over trust. How we replace good intentions with verifiable bounds. All of this reveals a really profound truth about frontier AI governance right now. We are currently asking trust to do the heavy lifting of architecture. Trust-centered safety relies on the sincerity, the public safety language, and the good intentions of a company's leadership. But guys, sincerity is not a system. Architecture-centered governance relies on verifiable feedback and hard boundaries. We absolutely have to shift our paradigm here. The real question isn't whether a company is well-intentioned. I mean, honestly, many of them sincerely are. The real question is whether their deployment system is built so that absolutely nobody, not even the most trusted executive, can unilaterally push the world into an unsafe state. And EP acts as exactly that missing layer. It maps every single frontier problem, from coding agents completely outpacing human review, all the way to the limits of corporate trust, directly to a disciplined, verifiable control response. It takes all those abstract anxieties we have about AI safety and turns them into hard operational constraints. It proves that good intentions and safety language are really just a starting point. Verifiable, structured architecture that maps risk to a specific engineered boundary, that is the only actual solution for long-term stability. By treating intelligence as a constrained energy flow system, EP acts as a comprehensive top journal-grade research architecture. It demands that we define the energy mechanism, map capability flows, pinpoint the leakage paths, and build tight verification loops.
Crucially, it means preserving failed paths and making sure that our conclusions about a model's safety never outrun the actual empirical evidence. It proves that audit findings, failures, and misuse patterns can't just be brushed under the rug. They must actively trigger governance escalation and permanently change how the system is deployed in the future.
Ultimately, AI safety is not going to be won by public relations. It's going to be won by proving that capability remains firmly bounded under intense pressure. So it leaves us with one massive question to chew on. Are we ready to build the hard architecture required to actually govern AI? Or will we just settle for trusting AI and the companies building it to govern themselves?